Every weekday morning at exactly 5:15 a.m., Daniel Carter unlocked the employee entrance of Ashford Tower while the city was still asleep. The towering 40-story office building stood in the center of downtown, home to international law firms, technology companies, investment groups, and medical corporations. By 8 o'clock, nearly 6,000 employees would walk through its glass doors. Most of them would never notice the man who made sure the building looked flawless before they arrived. Daniel preferred it that way. After losing his wife, Sarah, 5 years earlier, he had chosen a job that gave him something far more valuable than prestige: time. The janitorial shift ended every afternoon before school dismissed, allowing him to pick up his 9-year-old daughter, Lily, every single day. That schedule was worth more to him than any impressive office. Each morning began with the same routine. Daniel woke before sunrise. He made scrambled eggs and toast for Lily. He packed her lunch and slipped a handwritten note inside. Never stop being kind. Believe in yourself. Mom would be proud of you. Lily never threw the notes away. She carefully stored every one inside a small wooden box beside her bed. My dad writes me treasure, she proudly told her teacher. After walking Lily to the school bus, Daniel drove to Ashford Tower. He greeted the overnight security guards by name. He always carried extra coffee because he knew long night shifts were exhausting. He checked every hallway before beginning his work. A forgotten backpack, a loose floor tile, a burned-out light bulb. Nothing escaped his attention. To Daniel, cleaning wasn't simply removing dust. It was taking care of a place where thousands of people spent most of their lives. Employees appreciated him even if they rarely admitted it. Receptionists smiled whenever he appeared. Maintenance crews trusted him completely. The building engineers often joked that Daniel noticed problems before anyone else. If someone accidentally spilled coffee in the lobby, Daniel quietly cleaned it before complaints reached management. If a visitor looked confused, he walked them personally to the correct office. He never acted as though any task was beneath him. Very few people knew anything about Daniel beyond his uniform. No one realized he possessed a business degree. No one knew he had spent years working in commercial real estate before his wife became seriously ill. During those difficult years, Daniel and Sarah had quietly invested nearly every dollar they could save into aging office buildings that other investors ignored. They believed in buying neglected properties, improving them patiently, and holding them for the future. After Sarah passed away, Daniel transferred every investment into a private family trust created solely for Lily's future. The trust owned several commercial properties. Ashford Tower happened to be the largest. Daniel intentionally remained anonymous. Professional property managers handled leases, maintenance, and finances. Only the trust's attorneys and a handful of executives knew the identity of the beneficiary. Daniel wanted a normal life. He wanted Lily to grow up understanding that people should be respected because of their character, not because of their wealth. So every morning he continued wearing the same blue janitor's uniform. Across town, Victoria Lawson prepared for the most important business presentation of her career. As CEO of Lawson Capital Partners, she had recently relocated her company's headquarters into Ashford Tower. Her firm was negotiating a multi-billion-dollar investment partnership with international clients. Months of preparation depended upon making the perfect first impression. Victoria believed details reflected leadership. Perfect conference rooms, perfect presentations, perfect timing. She expected excellence from everyone around her. Employees admired her intelligence. Many also feared disappointing her. On the morning the investors were scheduled to arrive, an unexpected water pipe burst beneath the marble lobby floor during routine maintenance. Within minutes, water spread across the entrance. Maintenance workers rushed to isolate the leak. Engineers removed ceiling panels. Warning signs appeared throughout the lobby. Daniel immediately redirected visitors away from the slippery floor while helping maintenance crews keep everyone safe. He had Victoria spend the rest of the afternoon trying to focus on the investor meeting. The presentation went well. The guests seemed impressed. Yet her thoughts kept returning to the quiet janitor who had accepted his dismissal without a single complaint. There had been no excuses, no anger, no attempt to embarrass anyone. Just a calm smile and the simple words, "I hope your meeting goes well." For reasons she couldn't explain, those words stayed with her. Around 3 o'clock, her assistant hurried into the conference room. "Ms. Lawson, the property management company is here." Victoria looked up. I thought our lease documents were already finalized. They're not here about the lease. They said it's urgent. A few minutes later, the regional property manager entered with an older attorney carrying a leather portfolio. Both looked unusually nervous. The property manager cleared his throat. Ms. Lawson, I'm afraid there's been a misunderstanding involving one of the building employees. Victoria frowned. What kind of misunderstanding? The gentleman who was reassigned this morning. The janitor? Yes. The attorney carefully opened the portfolio and placed several legal documents on the conference table. I'm representing Carter Family Holdings. Victoria glanced at the papers without understanding. So, the attorney smiled politely. Mr. Daniel Carter is the sole trustee of Carter Family Holdings. The trust owns Ashford Tower. Silence filled the room. Victoria blinked. I'm sorry, what did you just say? The building belongs to Mr. Carter's family trust. He purchased controlling ownership several years ago after quietly acquiring additional shares from retiring partners. Victoria stared at the documents. But, he's the janitor. He also happens to be the owner. One executive whispered. That can't be possible. The attorney nodded. It surprises many people. He has continued working here by choice. He believes staying connected with the people inside the building helps him understand how it should be managed. Victoria slowly sat down. Everything she had assumed about Daniel suddenly collapsed. She remembered his calm confidence, his kindness toward everyone, the fact that he never acted impressed by executives. It all made sense now. The property manager continued. Mr. Carter has never wanted special treatment. In fact, very few tenants know who owns the property. He specifically requested that his identity remain private. Victoria quietly asked, Did he mention this morning? No. He asked us not to. He said the situation was unfortunate, but not worth embarrassing anyone. Those words hurt more than any criticism could have. He had protected her dignity even after she had publicly blamed him. Early the next morning, Victoria drove to the modest neighborhood where Daniel lived. She found him helping Lily plant flowers in a small garden beside their house. Lily smiled brightly. Good morning. Daniel stood and brushed the dirt from his hands. Ms. Lawson, I wasn't expecting you. Victoria looked genuinely embarrassed. I came to apologize. You were doing your job. I judged you without asking what happened. Daniel smiled gently. We all make quick decisions sometimes. She shook her head. No. I judged your worth because of your uniform. Daniel remained quiet. Victoria continued. I also know who you are now. Daniel laughed softly. You mean the building? Yes. You could have told me. I could have. But then you would have listened because I owned the building. Not because I deserved to be heard. Those words left Victoria speechless. Daniel looked toward Lily, who was carefully watering the flowers. My daughter doesn't know me as an owner. She knows me as her dad. That's the title I'm proudest of. Victoria smiled. I understand now. A week later, Lawson Capital hosted a company-wide meeting. Every employee attended. Victoria stood at the front of the auditorium. I owe someone a public apology. She invited Daniel onto the stage. The room filled with surprised whispers. Victoria addressed the staff honestly. Last week, I judged a man by his position instead of his character. I was wrong. I've learned that respect should never depend on a person's job title. She turned toward Daniel. Thank you for showing more grace than I deserve. The audience applauded. Daniel stepped to the microphone. I appreciate your apology, but I'd rather everyone remember something else. He looked around the room. The people who clean your offices. The people who deliver your mail. The people who fix your computers. They all deserve the same respect you'd give a CEO. Because every job keeps this building alive. The applause grew even louder. From that day forward, Lawson Capital introduced a new tradition. Every new executive spent one full day working alongside maintenance staff, receptionists, security officers, and janitors before assuming leadership responsibilities. Victoria believed no leadership program had ever taught a more valuable lesson. Months later, Lily asked her father, Dad, why didn't you tell everyone you owned the building? Daniel smiled as they walked home together. If people only respect you because you're wealthy, they're respecting your money. I'd rather they respect how I treat people. People remembered the story because a CEO fired a quiet single dad janitor, only to discover hours later that he secretly owned the building. But those who knew the whole story remembered something even more important. True character doesn't announce itself through titles or wealth. It reveals itself through humility, kindness, and the quiet choice to treat every person with dignity, no matter what job they do.